In this video, we are going to talk about verifying that two functions are inverses of each other. One way to do this type of problem is to just find the inverse, right? So here's f of x. We know how to find the inverse. So that's one way you could do this problem, right? Just like we did in the previous example videos. There is another way, right, to do that. So the one-to-one functions f of x and g of x are inverses of each other if g of f of x equals x for all x in the domain of f, or f of g of x equals x for all x in the domain of g. Okay, so in this example, we're talking about composition of functions. So this condition basically says that if you plug f into g, right, everywhere there's an x, right, you plug the f into g and you simplify it all out and you get x, well then f and g are inverses of each other. Or likewise, right, if you can plug g into f, and if that work that out, if that comes out to be x, then they are inverses of each other. Okay, so that's another way to do that. All right, and so let's just work through an example of that second way. We've already done several examples of finding the inverse itself. So I'm just going to write these two functions down. F of x equals minus 2x minus 1, and g of x equals minus x over 2 minus 1 half. Okay. Okay, so all right, so we can either take f and plug it into g, that's g of f of x, or take g and plug it into f. Theoretically, right, it doesn't really make any difference. But practically speaking, in this example, it's probably a little bit easier to take g and plug it into f, okay, and work that out. So that means I am going to plug g into f. Okay, so g is this function over here, minus x over 2 minus 1 half. Okay. So I'm going to replace g of x by what I know it's equal to, right? And then I am going to go to f, right? And everywhere I see this variable an x in this formula, I am going to replace it with the formula for g of x, right? So f of x was minus 2x minus 1. Where that x was, I'm going to leave a little bit of space, right? And then I am going to plug this stuff inside, like so. And I'm going to simplify all that out. And if I wind up with just x, that will verify that these two functions are inverses of each other. Okay, so simplifying this expression, I can distribute this negative 2 through the parentheses, right? When I do that, I get minus 2 times minus x would be 2x over 2, right? And negative 2 times negative 1 half will be a positive 1, right, when I distribute that. And then I'll have this minus 1, right, just tagging along from here. Okay, and so now I can simplify. I get 2x over 2, this 1 plus minus 1, or 1 minus 1 comes out to be 0, and then I can cancel the common factor of 2 here, and I wind up with just x. Okay, so that means that these functions are inverses of each other.